Morning guys, day out at the barn, and we're doing a couple different things today because mainly this channel is about stuff we like to do and even stuff we don't like to do, but we do it anyway because we have to do it. So, what are you laughing at? So Connor's here and we're working on this a little bit, and when I say we, I really mean Connor's doing it, but that's good enough. All right, so you got that thing out of there, broken tooth and all. So you're saying it looks like there's a stress. It's just stressed anyway.
It just doesn't. It's not like a clear, clean shear. I would say that it's bad casting or bad forge.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weak spot.
Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah,
didn't wear. I just sheared it off. Yep. So you got it out, and it wasn't all that hard to pull out, was it? I mean, you had to get the clutch. These back clutches had to come off.
You got to take that off to get the room. You just have enough room to slide it through.
Oh, okay. So that clutch had to come off. Yep. This one could have stayed on though.
Yeah, I could have.
Okay.
Because I'm not doing that side.
Easy, boy. Why is he coughing?
Because we're all getting over a cold.
Oh. It's that time of year.
Yes, it is.
And what did you have to do up here, Connor? I see you pulled the whole, that's the whole shift housing?
That
for high and low?
Yep, that's the high-low shift housing.
Oh, I see, and that gear's laying there.
Yep. And the clip's in there still, too. I got to find it.
Okay.
But I was able to, I made these work. I had to bend them just a little bit flatter.
Yep.
So that I could weasel them in just perfect.
And you got them in there, got that snap ring.
Yeah.
It's got to be a nightmare to put back on? Probably not as bad as taking it off, huh? Okay.
And then there's a sleeve before the gear. That's the big thing you got to remember.
Ooh, yeah.
You got to put that back in.
So you're going to put that other gear in there.
Yes. I'm going to put that all together because that's going to be where it is. And then we're going to have to work the shims on the final drive. Put that back.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Very important little nut, bud.
Little dude's pulling stuff apart too.
Yep.
Whether you need them to or not.
Yeah, I'll just keep that together.
All right.
I think the next step really is to clean the whole housing out though.
It's a mucky mess in there.
That pickup tube was tipped up.
Oh, it's not supposed to be.
It backed out. It's supposed to be pointing down.
Yeah.
So I tightened it up all the way and now it's pointing the right way.
Oh, I see, you got it pointing downward.
Yeah. This was loose.
So this is what we're talking about in here, right?
Yeah.
You can just barely see it, that tube right here.
That's the pickup tube.
I just stuck my finger in the oil.
So we were 4 inches higher in the oil than we should have been. Probably didn't help us out early on.
Could have been the whole problem.
And of course,
and why was it loose?
probably good.
Up front here?
Yeah, it's a big nut that holds it in place. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, cool. You're making progress. That's good.
This is stuck on that shaft.
Now you might have to
really
get this.
Messed stuff up getting that off. But I had to take it off because you can't get this off without that off.
Right. So you had to get that off.
I had to take it off.
So that's still stuck on there?
Yeah, it's still not there. I heated it up with a torch and tried yanking on it with vice grip, and it's so seized up. So I'm gonna keep hitting it with PV blast.
Yeah, well, I might have to get the actual oxygen torch out and
That's
propane.
what I used.
What?
Yeah.
Did you get a cherry red?
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell I had it.
We have more of those, don't we?
I know we have one ready for this other side. It's just one of these guys.
Yeah. I think I have more of those.
We should have 4.
Yeah, we should.
With all the parts we have.
See if we can find another one.
I think Casey and I are going to go outside and look for parts. I want to find a yoke. I'd like to find more of these. Some of the brake parts.
All right, let's see what we can find.
Yep.
Well, here we are out in Dozer junk pile world.
Oh, we're getting close here.
Are we?
Yeah, because there's the drive shaft.
Oh, we got pads. No yoke though.
Something really pricking me there.
Huh. All right, well, we'll see if we can find it. What are you doing?
Okay, so there's 2 cones, bearings working.
Yeah, just regular, like,
you know,
big wheel bearing kind of things.
and then it gets one of these plates on each side, and how you set the preload of the bearings is with shims.
Yippee.
You know, so
there's some precise measurement.
yeah.
You have to have it within what? Was it?
Well, you set this side up, and you got to use some kind of measuring tool to do it. You need to know the distance between this face of the gear and this face of the shaft.
Which isn't the same right now.
And you're aiming for 1 to 5 thousandths less than in your
On the
pack.
shaft.
Okay, so this side gets set because that goes inside the machine. And then your adjustability comes in with this side that you can access outside the machine if you ever needed to. And the whole goal of it is to get a certain amount of rolling resistance, which is like 30 to 40 inch-pounds.
Yeah.
So
Basically
not much.
3 foot-pounds.
Basically not much.
So we don't have a inch-pound beam-style torque wrench, which really works nice for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess we could use a clicker, but it'd be...
Well, we've got a foot-pounds beam.
I don't think we have a clicker that goes that long.
And I tested the foot-pounds on the, you know, the unmolested side of
Yep.
this machine.
Yeah, because we got one side that we didn't have to rip apart. This
Yeah,
is just the
that
one side
seems
changing the
correct.
pinion.
So this side was too tight. It really was. And you could feel it just by doing that. It was really hard to... So I whacked it with a hammer.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Is this the hammer?
That's the hammer, yeah.
All right, good. 12-pound maul.
But
That's good.
it relieved that bearing on the shaft.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
Because
what
they're
I
pressed
needed
on the
to do.
shaft they're pretty tight.
Yeah.
They're not crazy tight though on the shaft, are they?
No.
I mean, you could press that shaft out fairly easy, I think.
Somewhere along the line, somebody took shims out of that side and made everything too tight. And it pushed that bearing on the shaft further, and
Yeah,
it was stuck.
exactly.
So that's why I had to hit it with the hammer.
There's a lot of preload. It seems you could set the preload with how tight you torque these bolts too, instead of the shims.
Well, you torque them to 125 foot-pounds.
Yeah, it's because they just want them on there tight.
Yep, they're tight.
I guess without the shim, if you torqued them to set preload, it wouldn't torque them to keep the bolt in place.
So I've got 55
Of course, they're wired too.
thousands of shimps right now.
All right, so you're gonna do the measurement and the math.
And I read the measurement, and I'm like 58 thousandths. So I got 55 thousandths to go in. So that puts me in my tolerance. So I'm going to do this side, get it all torqued down, and probably even wire it and be done with it.
Yeah.
And then the only side I'm going to play with now is this side.
And it's probably gonna be a little trial and error, get it back and forth. So he's gotta so basically what we have to do is what's the torque value on these bolts?
125.
We gotta get these bolts torqued to 125 pounds without it over tightening this to the point where it doesn't spin at 30 to 40 inch-pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I think what I'm going to actually do is put more shims in, put a higher level of shims in that, torque it down. It's probably going to push that
Work your way.
bearing off the shaft, make it really loose again.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to bring it back and dial it in.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right, that makes
Probably
sense.
a better idea than hitting it with a hammer anyways.
No, that's gonna be the opposite.
No.
More shims is not gonna loosen it up.
Yeah, well,
How?
because it's going to push the shaft.
Eh?
It should. Only if I hit it with a hammer.
We argue sometimes.
No, I think you're right.
We go back and
I have to
forth.
hit it with a hammer to do that.
You do. Because if you bump the shims out to here,
Yeah.
you're just tightening that down.
It's just going to make a loose gap.
Well, you know, it takes a lot of ciphering and figuring to get this stuff figured out.
I think I'm going to hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, you'll be beating at it some more. You may not have to, if, you know.
I've measured this like 4 times, and I'm in the range of 60 to 54 every time I do it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty consistent.
I think to the 10,000ths of an inch on this, it's not critical on this side.
I got 55 thickness shim pack to go in.
It'll be the other side that really matters.
Yep.
Okay, he's gonna do that, and I'm gonna go back to the Caddy. Ooh, about time I got back on this Caddy. I'm gonna start welding patches in. That's what I'm gonna do. I got all these little patches to weld. That one, got the battery box done, pretty happy about that. Let's go around this thing. It's a little dark in here. This back quarter, I'm gonna finish welding this patch in. I gotta weld it in pretty good, but I gotta grind it off and make sure there's no pinholes. Basically make it watertight. That's a joke, I can't weld not watertight. I'm gonna do the best I can. And then it's gonna get a nice layer of dyno glass. And this back here is, well, this is Swiss cheese. I got a big chunk cut out here, cut out here, cut out here. I made all those patches and I primed the back sides of them. I got those holes up there and I'm gonna start welding them in.